the gentlemen of the Philippine Senate, our friends from the ZEZA and the SEZA, OMB, SB Corp, and our dear guests. I would like to call to order this budget briefing Subcommittee M of the Committee on Finance on the budgets of the two economic zones, the Zamboanga City Special Economic Zone Authority and the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority. We will also have briefings on the budgets of the Optical Media Board and the SB Corporation. We will start with the deliberation of the ZES. Is it SEZA? ZEZA. ZEZA. Ayan, okay. Yes, excuse me. We will start with the deliberation of the ZEZA budget. May I ask the committee secretary at this point to acknowledge the resource persons for the ZEZA?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me acknowledge the presence of our distinguished guests and resource persons from ZEZA. We have the Chairman and Administrator Raul Regondola, sir. Yeah. We also have Mr. Ronald Akaap. We also have Mr. Salvador Lazaro. We also have Mr. Eugene Pasio. And lastly, we have Janice Mary Giminsil. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Comsec, and good afternoon, everyone. Before we start with the presentation, allow me first to express my full support for the Zamboanga City Special Economic Zone Authority 2024 proposed budget. After a review of data materials submitted by the Zamboanga Ecozone, I note that a total of 275.973 million pesos is requested by the Ecozone. The Ecozone Development Program will receive the highest allocation, amounting to 207.5 million pesos. With this, I am hoping to hear the significant details of the Ecozone's development plans that will maximize the use of this budget. Particularly, I am looking forward to the infrastructure projects, plans to attract local and foreign investors, and the zone's export plans and performance in the past year. I would also like to receive updates on the notable projects of the Ecozone, particularly the Asian Halal Center in the Philippines, San Ramon Newport World-Class International Seaport, West Corporate Center, and Zambo Ecozone's Highlands. To start our discussions, let us call on the officials of the ZEZA for their presentation. For the efficiency of today's hearing, we are allocating 10 minutes for the presentation of ZEZA. To my fellow senators, kindly refrain from raising questions. Proceed with your presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Honorable Senator Mark Villar, and to the senatorial staff, fellow Ecozone authorities. First of all, we'd like to thank you for inviting us here today to present our 2024 budget proposal. This afternoon, just a brief presentation as I present our fiscal year 2024 budget proposal focused on our accomplishments for the first semester of 2023 starts with the number of registered locators, employment generation, export performance, ongoing projects, and the 2024 infrastructure projects through NEP. Republic Act 7903, the law creating a special economic zone and Freeport in the Zamboanga City, and its implementing rules and regulations, principal author of Zamboanga City, Representative Maria Clara L. Lobregat, signed on February 23, 1995 at Malacanang, Manila, Philippines. Our mandate: to attract local and foreign investors, generate employment opportunities, encourage the regional dispersal of industries. Our highlights of accomplishments. Do we have a presentation?
Sir, it's just loading.
I see. Okay. Number of locators from 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, and 22. From 2018, we have 48. 2019, we have 52. 2020, we have 81, 2021 with 85, and 2022, we have 92. And as of June of 23, we have 88. Our direct employment from 2018 of 1,467, 2019 674, 2020 during pandemic we have a total of 998, 998, 2021 887. As of end of 2022 we have a total of 1,184, and with an increasing figure as of June 2023 of 1,199. Our actual investments in million 2018 2,348,000, 2,348,077,000, and 2019 2,353,220,000. On 2020 we have a total of 493,198,000. 2021 we have 2,251,903,000. 2022 we have 2,602,900, and as of June of 2023 we have a total investments of 2,665,500,000. The Zamboanga zone is striving in so many ways in terms of employment, locators, and uphold our mandate of generating investments. Investing beyond boundaries is our responses to the crucial issues and matters of economic development. Zamboanga zone aims to generate positive, qualitative changes in multiple ways. The target number of locators for current year 2023 is 102. Currently, there are 88 actual registered locators as of June 2023 per semester, on track to achieving our target in promoting foreign direct investments. Additional 2 new registered foreign investors. We have a Korean and Singaporean-based company. This is in line with one of the goals of President Marcos administration's 8-point socio-economic agenda. There is a decrease in number of registered locators due to locators who are delisted and pre-termination of contract. They decided not to push through with the project for various reasons. At present, a total of 91 registered business enterprise operating inside Zamboanga zone. Generated actual total employment of 1,199 as of June 2023. At present, total number of employment generated is at 2,166 as of August of 2023. The actual investment generated 2,665,500 as of June 2023. So, in the board, we have the summary of registered locators. Operational, we have 45%, with 51.14%. Non-operational, 48.86%. With that, we have a total of 88. Currently, Zamboanga zone has 88 locators as of June 2023. Most of the locators are from wholesale and retail trading, agriculture, forestry, and fishing. Only 10% of the total number of locators that is into manufacturing. However, the companies under the manufacturing industry contributed the highest amount of actual investments in the zone. However, the non-operational registered business enterprise are paying their monthly lease rental. We have our export performance in terms of US dollars. No? From 2018, we registered of 17.8 million US dollars. In 2019, that increased to $20.3 million. And it is expected that during the pandemic, it really decreases to $9.4 million and increase on 2021 with a total of $16.8 million US dollars, and also increased tremendously on the year end of 2022 with a total export performance of $26.4 million US dollars. The export products produced by our locators include semi-processed natural rubber, SPR20, fresh frozen cuttlefish, squid, octopus, silago fish. These are the export raw materials of which shipped to Busan, Korea, Thailand, Clark, Yokohama Tire, Philippines, US, Belgium, Vietnam, Japan, and Croatia. Tin can sardines import raw materials shipped to Thailand and Malaysia. These are the summary status of our ongoing projects per GAA. From 2018, GAA of 2018, we have a total appropriation of 389 million.
Allotment of 389, obligation 388,592,000, utilization rate of 95%. Causes of delay, we have the weather conditions for relocation of area due to use of rock with special action forces and field conditions. On 2019, we have a total appropriations of 321,656,000, allotment of 321,656,000, obligation 319,410,000, utilization is only 246,072 or 77% rate. The reason the cause of delay is informal settlers for completion of corrective works and field conditions. The year 2020, we have an appropriations of 144,108,000, allotment 144,108,000, obligation of 142,012,000, utilization of 92.571 million, or a total of 65% utilization rate. Causes of delay, delay in importation of raw materials and equipment. The 2021, we have an appropriation of 253,389,000, allotment of 253,389,000, and obligation of 224,870,000, with a utilization the amount of 132,737,000 or 59%. Causes of delay, alignment to road project for completion of corrective works, equipment malfunctions, and weather conditions. At the end of 2022, we have a total appropriations of 253,869,000, allotment of 253,369,000, an obligation of 134,695,000 of rebidding. That is the causes of delay. For 2023, we have 235,111,000, allotment to 235,111,000, obligations of 6,499,000 that had been utilized for redesign or for allocator and for bidding. For a grand total appropriation from 2018 to 2023, we have a total of 1.596 billion, allotment 1.596 billion, obligation 1.216 billion, utilization is only 865,798 or 71%. Those are the summary of status of ongoing projects under the GAA.
The presentation.
Ongoing. For the 2024 budget. Yes, sir. Okay. For our budget proposal for year 2024, we have under MUI for GAA 2023, 40,862,000. For our proposed budget for 2024, 47,073,000. Approved budget per NEP is only 42,088,000. For capital outlay, GAA for 2023, 235,111,000. Our proposed for 2024 budget is 1.397,500 billion. The amount for 2024 approved by under NEP is only 207,500,000. So under GAA 2023, we have 275,973,000. And for our proposed budget, we have a total of 1,444,573. And the amount approved under NEP is only 249,588. For the Zamboanga zone budget proposal, we proposed 1.4 billion, but we were given a recommended budget ceiling of 249,588,000 for 2024 under the Tier 1 ceilings, of which MUI is in the amount of 42,088,000. whereas for the capital outlay is only 207,500,000. The following budget proposal for infrastructure projects under Tier 2 not approved by DBM, we have the One-Stop Shop Action Center, the 4-story office building, 2 units at Industrial Park with a total cost of 500 million. West Corporate Center, BPO Building 2, 600 million. The water supply system with a total of 15 million. The entrance archway, security control point, a second industrial park, 5 million. And the waste water treatment plant with a total of, can accommodate a total of 1,000 cubic meter water treatment plant with a total estimated cost of 70 million. Total budget proposal that was not approved by DBM is a total of 1,190,000. For the 2024 infrastructure through NEP, we have the name of the project is Slope Protection at Highlands. Project description, 5 kilometer slope protection structures with a total budget of 150 million. Land development, a second industrial park for clearing, grubbing, leveling of 30 hectares area for a total budget of 40 million. Power supply at Highlands, single-phase power distribution with solar street lights, 7.5 million. Solar power at Perth Industrial Park, 1 lot, 60 kilowatts. Roof-mounted solar power supply system, on-grid hybrid with solar perimeter lights with a total proposed budget of 10 million. Overall, we have a total of 207,500,000. These are the 2024 infrastructure project under NEP given the total budget ceiling of 207,500,000. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive presentation. At this point, we'll open the floor to questions, and I have some questions. I noticed your utilization in 2022 was only 18%, and in 2023 it was lower. And your request is quite significantly higher than the given budget. How can you? Ano po ang comment nyo doon? Kasi medyo mababa ang utilization 2022. So, baka mahirapan din kayo na ma-obligate yung request in
Yes,
2024.
actually, Mr. Chair, yung iba dyan na rebid na kasi marami nag-rebidding for awarding na yung ibang mga projects natin for year 2022.
For 2022, di ba nag-lapse na yun? Yung, kung hindi nyo na-obligate ng 2022, lapse na yun?
Meron pang isang taon, sir.
Na-extend ba?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
For,
extend.
Yung SARO is good for 2 years.
Okay. Na-extend pala yung sa... Akala ko na-extend ng 6 months. So 2 years, 1 year pala yung
1 year
extension.
extension.
When will you obligate the 18%?
Mr. Chair, ako...
And I think in terms of disbursements, from the time of the GAA, may 2 years, di ba? So na-extend lang siya, I mean, is it extended till 2024 also, the disbursement of the funds? Kasi alam ko 2 years lang yung life, yung budget, the life of the budget.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Accordingly, itong mga pending project is may issuance na ito ng SARO. So it was already obligated by DBM.
Pero yung disbursement, 2 years din ang may time din, kailangan i-disperse din after 2 years.
Mr. Chair. Yes, Mr.
Diba?
Chair.
So, kahit na maano nyo yung 2022, ma-obligate nyo yung 2022, I suppose. Unless may extension ulit. You have to complete by next year, 1 year, yung implementation time for the project is 1 year. Tama ba yan? Tama, diba?
Tama,
Yes,
Mr. Chair.
Ang concern ko lang is, will you be able to, with additional budget, will you be able to obligate? Kasi even yung 2023, wala pa yung 2023, wala pang na-obligate, di ba?
Actually, Mr. Chair, yung 2023, for awarding na rin yung ibang projects. So it will be awarded before the year end. The year ends. And most of the
nakabid na.
2022 projects were already implemented. Hindi lang nakuan sa records.
Siguro ang suggestion ko lang, mas maganda kung yung first half, ma-obligate siya first half or ma-obligate siya sa first half of the year. Kasi pag December, pag November na, parang medyo late na rin yung...
Yung ibang mga project kasi for 2022 na kuha namin sa isang project yung canning factory, na redesign yung project na yun para at least pwede namin man. Kasi this is a canning factory, hindi karaniwan yung design. So nagpa-redesign kami just to suit you kung ano yung needs ng canning
yun
factory.
ng investor.
Yes,
Ng investor.
yes po. Kasi yung tinitingnan po namin yung employment generation na makukuha natin.
Hindi, ano lang, wala man akong objection doon. Siyempre, importante yan. Suggestion lang, yung planning, medyo mas i-expedite na lang natin yung planning.
Yes.
Diba?
Opo. No
Pwede naman pwede naman mag-short of award even before the budget. Pwede namang
Yes.
yung mga projects, pwedeng before January, i-short of award. Then pagdating ng January, i-award yun na.
Okay.
So, para mas mabilis. Napansin ko lang dahil medyo yung mababa lang yung utilization ng 2022. That was we're 2023 now. So,
Baka.
medyo delayed lang. So, I suggest that mas i-expedite nyo na lang yung procurement. Kasi yung basis din ng DBM ay yung utilization rate ng agency.
Yes.
Kung nakikita nila na mababa, mahirap din humingi ng additional budget kung yung existing hindi pa
na-utilize.
So I suggest maybe we can improve the utilization rate of the ZEZA.
Thank you po. Thank you.
Yun. So that's my only it's my concern. I guess at this point I'd like to thank you also for your wala naman nakapila, di ba? Okay. So there being no more questions and there's no one who's expressed expressed a desire to ask any more questions, and there being no objections, the budget of the ZEZA is hereby approved at the committee level and deemed submitted to the plenary. I'd like to express my gratitude to the ZEZA and your respective staff for your budget presentations. And at this point, let us have a short break to give the ZEZA to fix their things and give way to our friends from the CEZA to come in and make necessary preparations for the next hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
everyone, for your patience. We will now resume our budget hearing and proceed with the discussion of the budget of the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority. Before we call on the CESA for their 10-minute presentation, allow me to express my support for the agency's budget and, of course, the new leadership led by Secretary Katrina Ponce Enrile. I'm hoping for your fruitful leadership and its translation to more significant projects and success of the whole Cagayan Economic Zone Authority. So with that, to start the ball rolling, I'm very curious and very excited to hear about the details of the CESA's plans and how they will further expand and bring progress to the region and the country. So at this point, let us call on CESA for their budget presentation. So please proceed, ma'am.
To the Honorable Presiding Chair, Senator Mark Villar, and the respected members of this honorable committee, good afternoon to all of you. I am Katrina Ponce Enrile, Administrator and Chief Executive Officer of the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority. I, together with our team, would like to present and make an appeal in our proposed budget for 2024. Please bear with me as I narrate to you certain facts that are existing in this government-owned and controlled corporation, otherwise known as the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority. By way of background, CESA was established in 1995 pursuant to Republic Act 7922 with the aim of promoting and accelerating industrial and social development in the country, especially those in the rural and far-flung areas, such as the municipality of Santa Ana in Cagayan Province and other nearby areas. The charter also envisions the creation of an economic hub, which will provide jobs for the Filipinos in Region 2. At the peak of our operations of CESA, we were able to give back to the national government a total of 971.79 million remitted dividends and 820.91 million in income tax from 2006 to 2019. Despite us not having collected our share of the 5% gross income remitted by our locators since 2016, our locators were able to provide a total of 2.469 billion in direct income to the Department of Labor and Employment, Bureau of Immigration, Bureau of Customs, and the Land Transportation Office. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic and the mismanagement for the past 6 years of my predecessors, which I now have to correct, the condition of CESA became worse. The number of locators declined by 4.32%, but despite the dire condition of CESA, when I assumed office last June, we were able to increase our employment rate by 3%. Plus, since 2009, CESA has not been receiving any subsidy from the national government to support our personal services and our maintenance and other operating expenses. I have done everything possible to lower the expenses of CESA. I take the mandate given to me by the President very seriously, so I need to turn the situation around and do it quickly. Just by example, we went from 502 employees, including plantilla and contract of service positions, down to 202. We have done cost-cutting measures like energy-saving policies even in our offices, just so we can save every penny so that it will all be brought back to the projects that are going to bring back revenue to the national government. This is my first time in government. I came from the private sector, and as I value then every penny that was my own, I value it even more now that it is not mine but the people's money. We need the assistance from the national government to improve our infrastructure. Currently, with some developments we already made in CESA, sadly, the infrastructure that we currently have are not at par with the much more developed economic zones like SBMA, Clark, and other more mature economic and industrial zones in the metropolis and nearby areas. Currently, CESA is mired by unstable power sources. We can actually consider CESA off-grid in terms of power. On top of that, we have unstable and unreliable connectivity. Our road systems are minimal, and our port desperately needs upgrading. The port is our gateway to the world and domestically. We are dependent on the road systems going up to Cagayan for the delivery of raw materials. With this improvement, it will make CESA and the whole region to bring down costs of basic necessities such as food and fuel, among others, making the goods being brought to CESA and to the region less expensive. It is imperative that we finish this port once and for all, so we can now add another layer of income for the government. By providing this infrastructure, CESA can viably compete and offer similar, if not better, services to our potential investors. With your help, Mr. Chair, and the rest of the honorable members of the Senate, we could improve the economic conditions in our area. We are requesting an additional budget in order to support our infrastructural needs. We are confident that with such support from the government, we will attract the investors into our area that could definitely spur growth in the Cagayan region and help the national government by creating more jobs, broadening the tax base, and bringing in more money to the coffers of government. With this, we are respectfully requesting an increase in the funding allocated to CESA. The additional funding will allow us to pursue vital projects, including construction of mixed-use commercial buildings, warehouses, improvement of our road system, repair and maintenance of our breakwater, and the improvement of Port Irene through dredging. Right now, it is at -9. Only very limited ships can come in. We have to dredge it to -16 to be able to make this port very viable. These projects are critical for the development of the Cagayan Special Economic Zone and Freeport and are aligned with the Philippines Strategic Plan. Thus, we humbly seek your support in increasing the proposed budget for CESA amounting to 500 million pesos. I hope you don't get shocked. By adding 4.8 billion to support the additional infrastructure requirements of CESA. We are not asking anything frivolous. These are urgent needs for us to compete not only domestically, but globally as well. I thank you very much for your time, and we eagerly anticipate the implementation of these projects we so direly need, which will stand as an enduring testament to the exceptional pro-people, pro-development leadership of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that very comprehensive presentation, and I'm very happy to hear that the trajectory of the CESA is improving with lower overhead and an increased number of job generation. I think that's very, that's very encouraging, and especially, the region needs as much help as it can. So I'm very excited for the prospects, and I congratulate you, Secretary, for hitting the ground running. It's very encouraging, and I just have a few questions at this point. You mentioned earlier that there's power issues. And I know a lot of locators, power is always a major concern for a locator. So can you maybe expand on that a little bit so we can be informed about the power issues?
We are experiencing 12-hour rotating brownouts. And then NGCP has not pulled the wires through the transmission lines. And the earliest time they said that they can pull those lines, if at all, will be year 2025. And so from now until 2025, I have to find a interim solution before all the renewables kick in, because it will take. And as you know, it takes over 200 permits to just get your contract of service from the Department of Energy for one renewable project. So before any of those projects kick in, I am already in talks with a proponent from the United States to bring in an alternative energy source. Which is going to lower the cost, because right now we are paying 22 per kilowatt hour. If you translate that, compare that to Vietnam, that is having only 8 pesos per kilowatt hour, we're already not even going to be considered. That's why with this new technology that I was able to come across, they promised that we will be able to bring down the cost of energy within 6 months once the plant is built, because they can build it in 6 months, to about 13 pesos per kilowatt hour, which is already good, because we will be able to compete already with Vietnam. I'm not anymore looking at domestically. I'm already looking as my competition are regionally. Because I know our workforce is far better. We are easily trainable, and we have the manpower resources in Cagayan and in the whole of region to be able to support the industries that are going to be coming in. So I think the difference of 5 pesos will be negligible to the investors that are looking for alternative economic zones and special economic zones to come into. But of course, we are going to go green because the Philippines has signed a treaty saying that we have to go green in a few years. So while waiting for that, we still need to do our job. So in 6 months' time, we will have energy there, stable energy. Connectivity, we've opened it up. Initially, it was just LR that was giving us connectivity at a very, very high rate, and the reach was not really all over the area. And as you know, the Freeport is almost the size of Singapore, and so we have to make the whole area connected so that we can make best use of the whole area and build it up accordingly, but very responsibly. Anything else, Paul?
No, it's. I just want to express that we'd love to support whatever needs to get done to get locators there, especially with regards to the power. If we can push NGCP to have that target for.
If you can help us,
yes.
Paul.
Yes, I'd just like to express
Tell them to hurry up
yes.
and pull the wires.
When it comes to locators, power's everything. I mean, that's one of the major considerations. Being the chairman of Trade and Industry, it's always one of the first things they ask about, a power source. the labor, like you said, the labor here is no, we have the best labor, I think, and I agree with you wholeheartedly that we have the best labor in the world. We just need the support, and I can see that, there's a lot of challenges that the SES has faced, especially budgetarily. You see, the dredging. You have to, in order to make it more viable, I guess you have to. So once you dredge it, will it be? Is it going to be one time and then permanent, and then you don't have to, or is it going to be something that has to be regularly budgeted for?
We are planning the dredging to be hopefully done right one time. But of course, we can't fight nature, but at least within the next 10 years, there won't be dredging needed. Because of the design that I'm looking at. So,
Secretary, let me know how we can support. I will lobby for your additional budget, and I'll do my best to see
Thank
that
you. Thank you
get
very much.
you get the support that you need. I'll really try my best, and I'll lobby with appropriations so that
and
you
as
can
an
have your support.
Ilocana, I'm going to stretch every penny of that.
And I know, and I don't doubt it. And I know that you're very, you bring a lot of practical business acumen to this job. I know you have a very successful private business, and I'm sure those the lessons that you learned there. And I'm also a fan of your products when you're in the
Thank you
private
so much
sector.
po.
Right? Dali mo, the best corned beef in the
Salamat
in the
po.
Philippines, which I just had this morning, by the way.
Thank you po.
But again, thank you so much for that presentation. Thank you very much for your time. We're here at your service, and we'd like to express our support, and thank you for the very good presentation. So at this point, there being no other questions and there being no objections, the budget of the SEZA is hereby approved at the committee level and deemed submitted to the plenary. I would like to convey my gratitude to the officers of the SEZA and the respective staff for the well-prepared budget presentations. So let us have a short break to give time to the SEZA to fix their things and to allow the OMB to come in and make necessary preparations for the next hearing. Thank you very much. Resume our budget hearing, proceed with discussion of the budget of the Optical Media Board. Before we call on the OMB for their 10-minute presentation, allow me to express my support for the agency. The Optical Media Board regulates the mastering, manufacturing, importation, and exportation of optical media products and manufacturing materials. The board is also primarily mandated to ensure the protection and promotion of intellectual property rights. In line with this mandate, as one of the anti-piracy agencies in the Philippines, the OMB performs regulatory functions through the exercise of its enforcement and quasi-judicial powers that facilitate the apprehension and eventual prosecution of violators of RA 9239. Upon perusal of the materials on the budget of the OMB, I saw that only 84% of the proposed budget, equivalent to 68.121 million pesos, was approved by the DBM. Of this budget, 64.24 million is allocated for new appropriations and 3.881 is automatic appropriations for the retirement and life insurance premiums of OMB personnel. As the new appropriations will require congressional approval, I'm expecting that we will discuss the contents of this allocation thoroughly. Let us now call on the officials from the OMB for their budget presentation. So at this point, you may proceed with your presentation.
Magandang hapon po sa ating butihing Honorable Chair, Senator Mark Villar, at sa lahat po ng members of the committee. Ako po si James Macasero, Officer in Charge ng Optical Media Board, at po ay nag-assume bilang OIC noong October 6, 2023. Kasama po ang aking OMB family for our budget proposal for fiscal year 2024. The Optical Media Board, or OMB, was created pursuant to Republic Act number 9239, known as Optical Media Act of 2003, which was approved on February 10, 2004. It is mandated to regulate the mastering, manufacture, replication, importation, and exportation of optical media in all forms. Its authority covers the entire territory of the Republic of the Philippines, including the economic zones as defined both under RA number 9239. Sa ilalim po ng Section 10 ng Republic Act number 9239, naka-enumerate ang powers and functions ng OMB na nakasummarize into three major functions, namely registration and licensing. Ito yung suriin ang mga kwalifikasyon na sino mang individual, establishmento o iba pang entity upang makisali sa mastering, paggawa ng optical media. At para sa layuning ito, dapat hanapin ng OMB sa naturang tao or establishment na patunayan ang kakayahan nitong makisali sa mga nasabing aktibidad. Number 2, yung ating enforcement and investigation. Ang OMB ay may karapatang magsagawa ng mga inspeksyon ng mag-isa o pakikipag-ugnayan sa iba pa mga karampatang ahensya ng gobyerno ng mga establishmento na nakikibahagi sa mga aktibidad sa Section 13A, B at C ng batas na ito. Meron din po tayong quasi-judicial here and resolve administrative cases laban sa mga lumalabag sa batas na ito at magpataw ng mga parusang pang-administrative. Next. Gusto ko pong i-highlight din po, Mr. Chair, ang ilan sa mga makabuluhang tagumpay ng ating ahensya sa buong kasaysayan nito. Noon pong 2017, nagkaroon po tayo ng highest budget utility rate na 99%, highest administrative cases filed na 3,059 cases. Nagkaroon rin po tayo ng satellite offices sa Baguio, Cebu at saka sa Davao po. Para sa taong 2018, nagkaroon po tayo ng kauna-unahang OMB ambassador na si Piolo Pascual, and nagkaroon rin tayo ng infomercial upang mas maintindihan ng ating mga taong bayan ang ino-offer ng services ng agency. Naideklara rin sa pamamagitan ng PD number 596 series of 2018 ang Oktubre ay ang National Anti-Piracy Month. Para sa year 2019, nagkaroon tayo ng pinakamalaking koleksyon ng administrative fines and penalties na nagkakalaga ng 1,835,000 pesos. Sa taong 2020, nilaunch ng ahensya ang OMB Online, ang ating online application and registration system upang matulungan ang ating mga stakeholders sa seamless transaction sa ating ahensya. Nagkaroon rin ng streamlining ng mga dokumento ang ating registration and licensing. Para sa ating fiscal year 2022 performance report naman po, para sa ating Registration and Licensing Division, noong 2022, nakapag-issue ang OMB ng kabuuang 8,078 license sa aming mga stakeholders na binubuo ng 1,902 na new license at 6,176 na renew na license. Para sa permits naman po, meron tayong kabuuang 25,955 permit na in-issue. Sa Legal Division naman po, para sa fiscal year 2022, ang OMB ay nagsampa ng kabuuang 1,519 administrative cases. Sa kabuuang inaprobahang resolusyon na 35 kung saan 14 ang na-dismiss at 21 ang naparusahan. Bukod pa rito, nakapagtala ng administrative penalties collected na 1,600,000 noong 2022 po. Sa ating Enforcement and Investigation Division, noong fiscal year 2022, mayroong 2,389 inspection orders na na-issue na nagresulta sa tinatayang nasamsam na item na nagkakahalaga ng 1,523,260 pesos. At ito ay katumbas ng 91.88% ng aming 2,600 DBM na target. Kahit po hindi nagawaran ng MOOE fund para sa taong ito, we are proud, Mr. Chair, to present to you OMB's accomplishment para sa 2023 first semester performance report. Para sa ating registration and licensing division, as of June 30, 2023 po, nakapag-issue ng 3,921 na license at 11,614 permits sa ating mga stakeholders. And in terms of DBM targets, all issued licenses and permits were processed within the prescribed period. Sa ating legal division, sa loob lamang po ng 6 na buwan, ang OMB ay nagsampa ng kabuuang 1,816 administrative cases at nakapagkolekta ng administrative penalties na nagkakahalaga ng 55,000 pesos. Para naman sa ating Enforcement and Investigation Division, nakapag-serve na ang OMB EID ng 1,822 inspection orders o 70.08% DBM targets of 2006 in IOs. Noong 2022 nakatanggap ang OMB ng kabuuang 80,194,000 allotment. Sa kabuuang 71,460,000 na mga obligasyong natamo o 92.93%. At mga disbursement na nagkakalaga ng 69,740,000 o 89.47% na kabuuang mga obligasyon. Ang ehensya ay may unobligated allotment na may kabuuang 8,734,000 at unpaid obligation na 1,720,000 pesos. Sa unang semester ng naman po ng 2023 nakatanggap ang OMB ng kabuuang 57,685,000 pesos allotment sa kabuuang 28,883,000 na mga obligasyong natamo o 57.80%. At mga disbursement na nagkakalaga ng 23,625,000 o 90.84% ng kabuuang mga obligasyon. Ang ahensya ay may mga unobligated allotment na may kabuuang 28,802,000 at hindi nabayarang obligasyon na 5,258,000 pesos. Para naman sa mga audit observation memorandum issued ng ating mga auditors, 7 out of 10 AOMs ang fully implemented na ng ahensya. Ang 3 out of 10, ang 3 naman po ng AOMs will be fulfilled or implemented by the management until end of this year. Mr. Chair, ito po ang aming roadmap ng OMB. Unang-una, kailangan po nating magbalik tanaw sa ating charter, mga kaugnay na batas at ang kanilang mga hinangong circulars upang magmukhahin ng mga posibleng pagbabago at maging angkop na pinakabagong mga pagsulong sa teknolohiya. Plano rin po natin paigtingin o i-intensify ang ating kampanya laban sa paglabag sa RA 9239 at mga kaugnay na batas sa mga larangan ng pagpapatupad, paglalicense at advocacy laban sa anti-piracy. Plano rin po namin ng ahensya na pag-igtingin ang knowledge ng ating mga stakeholders through various stakeholder consultative meetings. At ang pag-update din na po ng mga forms ng OMB, pag-streamline ng mga proseso para sa permit at lisensya na naaayon sa ease of doing business. Pag-digitalize ng mga sistema at pag-update ng mga infrastruktura ng IT at aktibong pagpuno sa mga bakanting posisyon po. Next. Upang matupad ang roadmap ng aming ahensya, narito ang aming particular na plano at programa para sa fiscal year 2024. Number 1 po, continuous enforcement operations ng ating Enforcement and Investigation Division, and kasama na rin po ang on-site registration and licensing para na rin ma-familiarize ang ating stakeholders sa ating OMB online application system. At number 2 po, ang OMB information campaigns. Ipagpapatuloy natin ang intensive information campaigns nationwide at magkakaroon rin tayo ng mga seminars and webinars sa ating mga stakeholders, infomercials, and tie-ups sa iba't ibang relevant organizations. Kailangan rin natin pagtibayin ang paggamit ng OMB online application system. Refresher course para sa ating mga frontliners, mga pagsasanay na sinasagawa ng mga dalubhasa sa cybersecurity, mga workshop para maging pamilyar ang mga abogado at empleyado tungkol sa online piracy. Para po sa ating budget overview, para po sa fiscal year 2024, ang Optical Media Board ay nag-propose ng budget na nagkakahalagang 68,121,000 pesos. Ang para sa personal services ay 47,466,000 pesos at ang para naman sa maintenance and other operating expenses ay 20,655,000 pesos. Kung ikukumpara po natin ito sa fiscal year 2023 GAA, nagkaroon tayo ng 15,700,000 for total variance. The decrease in personal services items are due to mandatory retirees on fiscal year 2022. May 5 po tayo na retirees last 2022 po, and anticipated retiree this year, 2023. Due to their retirement, may mga unfilled positions po base sa 2022. For the maintenance and other operating expenses, given po na may variance po siya dahil wala pong allocated MOOE per GAA, ang OMB this fiscal year 2023 ay 20,655,000 pesos. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Thank you very much for the comprehensive presentation. And akala ko ililipstick mo yung presentation. At this point, we'd like to bring up some questions. I have a question regarding yung I guess yung mandato ng OMB. Kasi as we know, iba na yung technology ngayon nung binuo itong agency. Syempre, yung optical media was the medium of choice for entertainment. But now, halos lahat streaming. And I don't know kung meron pang I don't know what optical media, how you can, nabasa ko sa roadmap na gusto nyong baguhin yung, I guess, or i-upgrade yung mandato. Will that be done through law or through the IRR? What is your plan for babaguhin ba yung IRR or are you proposing to create a law that would change the OMB's mandate?
Pero actually, nung nag-usap-usap po kami, Mr. Chair, with the OMB family, plano po ng Optical Media Board, of course, na i-upgrade ang pag-regulate, especially yung sa online streaming. Pinag-aaralan na po natin, last time nag-usap tayo sa office about sa streaming piracy, especially sa mga social media websites. Like yung mga nag-upload po ng mga movie na hindi ka
Kasi baka hindi na kailangang i-raid. Yung dati kasi i-raid yung mga DVDs, di ba?
Yes, DVD before.
Wala na. Ewan ko lang, meron pa bang mga pirated?
Yes,
Meron
Mr.
pa rin?
Meron pa rin
DVDs
po.
pa rin ang ginagamit nila?
Ngayon po, more on storage devices.
Okay.
Magnetic devices, yung mga hard disk. Halimbawa, merong brand ng USB. Tapos,
So mga USB ang hahabulin, ganyan.
hindi pala original yung tawag
Yung
dito.
laman ng...
Yes. Pati yung tatak din, Mr. Chair.
So paano natin habulin yung mga pirated yung storage devices?
Um,
Your Honor, since 2018, ang sinusunod na po naming batas sa pagsugpo ng pamimirata Memorandum Circular 002 Series 2018. Ito po yung mga various type of storage devices na it was obtained by the DOJ na ang storage devices po na ito ang medium na ng mga pamimirata. Ngayon, nagko-conduct pa rin po kami ng operation sa mga dito, within Metro Manila and nearby provinces. By bus ho. Kasi ngayon ho, nakakabili ka na ng hard disk drive, USB, SSD, yung mga storage devices ho, na downloaded na with movies and music. Kanya nagte-test buy po kami at pag meron po, yon automatic confiscated po yun, nire-raid namin. Sa economic zones din po, yung mga laptops, computers, yung mga may storage device po ito, internal. Pag wala pong
kasi baka iba na yung pangangailangan ng department. Baka kasi pag streaming, baka kailangan ng mga IT experts kasi online ang hahabulin mo doon, di ba? Hindi na yung katulad ng dati na may ahente talaga na papasok sa mga warehouse. Baka
Yes,
iba na.
Mr. Chair.
Kanya po, sa ngayon po, ang in-enforce namin is yung MC 002, 2018.
Yan. So, yun ang suggestion ko lang siguro, kailangan ma-update yung pagdating sa budget. Baka, I mean, syempre yung needs ng Optical Media Board, I'm sure are different than what they were 20 years ago. Baka the needs to stop piracy are different today. So, hopefully ma-update din yung budget proposals para mag-reflect sa mga changing technologies.
And sir, may I add?
Yes.
Noong 2018 po, under DAP, nagkaroon kami ng regulatory impact assessment. And then nakapag-submit naman po ng proposal before sa Congress. Yung selected regulation is Regulation of Optical Media and Magnetic Media, including storage devices. At ang objective po dito is amend and modernize RA 9239 to include other technological advancement in its jurisdiction. In addition, expand the enforcement and support of the Optical Media Board, creating for this purpose yung regional offices nga, which was natanggal for the meantime. Yung sinasabi po ni Sir Manny na 2018-002, based dun yun sa DOJ Opinion Number 21, which is before question dun during the budget hearing. Yung sa Section 26 nga, yung mutatis mutandis, kaya pinasok po siya sa OMB.
Okay.
Since optical media naman is hindi na ganun siguro kadaming regulation ngayon. Tapos nga yung mga na-inspect is nasa storage device na yung mga nilalagay yung mga pirated movies galing sa abroad or pinebenta locally. Kaya yun nga yung proposal ng office na na palawakin yung nasasakupan ng batas since wala naman nagre-regulate
So may
talaga yung storage
amendment
device.
sa batas ang kailangan.
Opo, so bali since 2018 pa to, siguro ngayon
Siguro
is
i-forward nyo
mag-create
sa akin
ng bago.
yung proposal ninyo para tingnan natin, kung pag-usapan natin. Para ma-update, I think it's about time. I mean, when you talk about optical media, parang 90s pa, 90s pa yan. 20, kailan ba yung CD-ROM? Hindi ko maalala yung CD-ROM.
Nawala na siya 2017.
16 DVDs.
Kanya nga, yung dating chairman namin si Atty. Adriano, ginawa po itong MC 002.
Si Chief Manny, Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
one of the
Yes.
original talaga ng OMB.
Okay.
VHS pa lang.
Meron ba? Meron bang VHS mod?
Wala lang.
May VHS media board ba? Umabot ba?
PD 1987 pa yun.
May Betamax monitoring. Anyway, yeah, sige. And then so let's work together para ma-update. I mean, sayang naman, you have an agency. We have to work to make it more relevant to the changing technologies. So we'll work with you. In the legislative, we'll work with you. And then you have. I noticed you have every year meron kayong ambassador. Sinong ambassador this
Before
year? Sino yung
way back-
anti-piracy ambassador ninyo? Sino?
si Ms.
Piolo Pascual.
Piolo Pascual,
Si
Mr.
Angel
Chair.
Aquino. Ay, Angel
Locsin.
Locsin.
Before.
Kung kailangan nyo ng kahawig ni Piolo Pascual,
Pwede.
magvo-volunteer ako.
Pwede po kayo.
Pwede po ba kayo, Mr. Chair?
Kahawig lang. Hindi, pag tinanong mo lang yung staff ko, kahawig. Pero mas kahawig ko si Moy Moy Palaboy. But I'd also like to see Senator Go manifest support to the OMB budget. So I'd also like to add that. I'd also like to add my support to the budget and also to the to efforts to update the mandate of the Optical Media Board to be more responsive to the changing times and technologies. And I'd like to thank my friend, Mr. Macasero.
Thank you,
Mr. Macasero, for
Senator.
your presentation, and there being no questions or objections, the budget of the OMB is hereby approved at the committee level and deemed submitted to the plenary. I would like to convey my gratitude and to the officials of the OMB and their respective staff for their well-prepared budget presentations. So at this point, let's have a short break to give time for OMB to fix their things and to allow SB Corp to come in and make the necessary preparations for the next hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Patients, we will now proceed to the discussion of the budget of the Small Business Guarantee and Finance Corporation. Before we call on SB Corp, I would like to address what transpired in our prior hearing. While all of us appreciate our dear officials in the SB Corp, I would also like to remind everyone that the budget hearing is very important, and although I'm aware that we have other opportunities and that we need to also give importance to, but the budget is equally important, and I hope you always remember that. Nonetheless, I affirm my full support for the SB Corp, as the goals and values of the corporation are close to my heart, particularly the provision of alternative financing for our small and medium enterprises. As an advocate for the development of MSMEs, I have also co-authored the Pondo para sa Pagbabago at Pag-asenso, or P3 Program Act. The program, which is implemented by SB Corp, is now on its way to being institutionalized. With a requested budget of 1.5 billion pesos, let us hear from SB Corp how they will utilize their budget for the interests of their main stakeholders. Let us now call on SB Corp for their presentation.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I am Robert Bastillo, the President and CEO of the Small Business Corporation. Again, Mr. Chair, I'd like to reiterate our apologies for not sending our senior management team last time. As I mentioned to you, we were in a financing for Peace Forum in Basilan, and we were the only government financing institution there. And we're heartened to, and we're glad to report that we found in one place our three priority segments: a small island economy, indigenous IP entrepreneurs, and a very poor province or area. So our small consolation, Mr. Chair, that we were there performing our mandate at the time. But today, our entire management, senior management team is here before you. And with your indulgence, I'd like to call our Senior Vice President to present her initial presentation, and we'd be glad to answer your questions as a team afterwards. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of this committee. To formally, again, present our presentation for the 2024 budget proposal, let me begin with relevant information about the corporation. Public development banks and development financial institutions are uniquely and strategically positioned to deliver on a country's public policy objectives and to address pressing crises as it arises. As the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted, governments play an important role in directing and guiding public policies and resources in the public interest. This is because we believe investments with high social returns are less likely to attract sufficient private capital if capital allocation is left purely to the market. SB Corp, as a government-owned and controlled corporation and classified as a non-bank financial institution by the BSP, has a clear public policy mandate expressly provided under RA number 9501, or the Magna Carta for MSMEs. This is to implement comprehensive policies and programs to assist MSMEs in all areas, including but not limited to finance and information services, training, and marketing. This broad mandate distinguishes SB Corp from other BSP-supervised financial institutions, including those are state-owned, such as DBP and Land Bank. In fact, SB Corp is the only government financial institution established and mandated to specifically serve the financing needs of the Philippine MSME sector. In contrast, other GFIs have broad policy mandates, including assisting large enterprises as part of their development financing strategies. Furthermore, SB Corp is strategically placed to address potential market failure by filling the gaps in access to MSME credit, undertake both sector-specific and cross-cutting measures, such as directing financial resources to vulnerable sectors and regions under more favorable terms. Third, to incubate, grow, and graduate enterprises. And fourth, to promote economic stability by playing an important counter-cyclical role. In terms of corporate performance, we are happy to inform this committee that prior to the pandemic, SB Corp's capital has been intact and has not been impaired at any point in time since its inception in 1991. This is despite the corporation being significantly undercapitalized for almost 30 years. It was only under, of course, the support of the chair and all other members of Congress that SB Corp was fully capitalized in November 2020 under the Bayanihan II Act. Nevertheless, losses on the SB Corp's financing programs arising from failure of borrowers to pay have been within the pricing returns and earning capacity of SB Corp's financing products and investments. In terms of cumulative dividends, while of course we expected that other bigger GFIs will report much higher dividends, but for SB Corp, in 2021 we were able to remit around 59 million in dividends to the national government, bringing the cumulative dividends issued to stockholders to roughly 725 million as of end 2021. While this is quite small, this reflects the needed balancing act between sustainability and developmental objectives required and expected from SB Corp. Towards this end, SB Corp shall continue to assiduously deliver on its mandate through a corporate governance lens by engaging in equitable and efficient allocation of resources and investment entrusted to us by our stakeholders, mainly the national government, while at the same time exacting accountability for the stewardship of these resources. We were also happy to inform this committee that for 2022, we have finally achieved full ISO 9001:2015 certification for the whole corporation. So we are now fully ISO 9001:2015 certified. Lastly, we would also like to inform this committee that in 2021, so the awarding happened in 2022, SB Corp was once again recognized as a top-performing GOCC under the Corporate Governance Scorecard of the GCG. This recognition affirms the corporation's continued adherence to best practices in terms of internationally accepted standards on good corporate governance. Doon po sa top 10, Mr. Chair, SB Corp lang po yung maliit na corporation. Most of the awardees really are the big GOCCs. In terms of our counter-cyclical role, SB Corp's fundamental purpose as expressed in its mission statement, and let me read this, to relentlessly champion the neglected business segments of the country to get them to access the capital needed to grow successfully. In pursuit of this fundamental purpose, SB Corp, we would like to show that SB Corp actually backed the trend of risk aversion shown by the Philippine banking sector in general and higher capitalized banks such as Universal, Commercial, and Thrift banks amid the uncertainty over the productive dual health and economic crisis the last couple of years. So kung umatras po yung mga big banks, ang SB Corp naman po ay we move forward. SB Corp decisively acted counter-cyclically. We more than doubled our MSME loan portfolio from 5.9 billion in end 2019 to around 12.7 billion in end 2021. So we're just showing yung key important counter-cyclical role of the corporation. With regards to our target MSME segments, SB Corp will continue to pursue purposeful, directed, and strategic interventions in the following 6 identified MSME segments. Number 1, micro and small agri and aqua enterprises. Number 2, small micro retailers. Number 3, in the small island economies. 4th would be MSMEs requiring rehabilitation arising from disasters, which is precisely what happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. Number 5, the IP-owned enterprises. And number 6, first-time small businesses, including engaging in venture capital. SB Corp aims to accomplish this by continuously developing loan products based on credible, data-driven research and analysis to be able to offer loans that are more responsive to the needs of MSMEs on the ground. So by providing necessary bridge financing to the above identified MSME segments, what we aspire is to eventually make these MSMEs bankable enabling them to access the formal financing system at non-usurious rates. So this is consistent with our incubation graduation model. So paano po namin ito ginagawa? One would be with regards to our grassroots marketing and program awareness activities. So for 2023, we have so far conducted a total of 20 events in 13 provinces as of end September 2023. Forthcoming grassroots activities shall be conducted in Bukidnon and 4th District of NCR. So that would be in November and December. With regards to, ito na po yung meat of this proposal, with regards to the P3 program, as a background, this was launched in February 2017. It's a national government effort through the DTI and SB Corp, officially covering, initial launch covered 3 pilot areas, namely Mindoro, Leyte, and Sarangani. So, malayo na po narating natin since 2017 as we are now, we have presence now in all provinces of the country, primarily with the objective to expand their operations without depending on usurious 5-6 money lenders. So ito po yung original na objective of the P3 program. Magkano po yung malolo ng ating mga MSMEs under the P3 program? They can loan up to 300,000 pesos with maximum interest of 2.5% per month, inclusive of all other fees. So for 2022, ang natanggap po ng SB Corp na on-lending funds is 1.9 billion. And we are happy to inform this committee na we have in fact released more than that. We have released 3.3 billion in 2022. Cumulatively, more than double na po. Cumulative lending funds would be 8.2 billion. Ang cumulative releases to date is 17.9 billion. So we have in fact leveraged the fund more than 2 times, Mr. Chair. With regards to our portfolio performance, we are happy to inform the committee that prior to the pandemic, in 2019, P3 program has been performing quite well. Our PDR is around 2% lang po, Mr. Chair. However, as expected po during the pandemic at ang naatasan pong SB Corp na talaga pong magpautang sa ating mga MSMEs, this led to an expected increase in our PDR to now 14.9% as of July 2023. However, if we are going to situate this to our counterparts in the private sector, we would like to most probably the closest counterpart would be rural banks and cooperative banks. Ang kanila pong PDR as of June 2023, past due ratio is 17.5% for cooperative banks and 10.1% for rural banks. So yun pong 14.9% past due ratio of SB Corp is really within industry standards as per BSP data. For the current year, ang budget po for on-lending funds ng SB Corp for the P3 program is 712.5 million. We are happy to inform the committee that we have almost tripled this in terms of releases with 1 full quarter to go. So as of end September, we have released around 2.1 billion in P3 funds. In terms of our portfolio mix, on average, 44% of our total lending portfolio is funded using P3 funds. So 56% are funded using our equity funds, 44% using P3 funds. Just to relate this to our PS and MOE, during the same period, our average PS and MOE is roughly 300 million. So if we are going to apply this portfolio mix and average PS MOE, the cost that could be attributed to the P3 program is roughly around 131 million on average. So therefore, for our 2024 budget proposal, SB Corp would like to respectfully request this committee to retain the Tier 1 budget of 1.5 billion for the P3 program. However, we would also like to respectfully request for a minor but important change in the way the subsidy funds is distributed under the special provision of the GAA, specifically for an increase in the mobilization and monitoring fund item from 5% to 10% po under the special provisions of the GAA. That would be the end of the presentation, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
There's the informal lending market. Have you ever done an estimate as to how large that informal lending market is in the country?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we have done some studies on that, and our estimate is 300 to 400 billion currently is unserved by all the formal sources of financing, including cooperatives and savings and loan associations, of course, the banks and the rural banks. So it's about 300 to 400 billion, and our corporate capital is only 10 billion, and the cumulative P3 funds is only above 8 billion pesos currently. That's why, of course, we're asking for additional capital.
What is the default rate now for SB for your portfolio?
Well, as reported, Mr. Chair, by SVP Lito, the past due rate is 15%. Approximately. So that doesn't mean that they have
default
already defaulted.
I mean, yes, that's what I mean. What is the default?
That's much smaller, much lower than that. That default rate natin, kasi we're still in fact collecting. So maliit lang, Mr. Chair. Our estimate is, our reckoning, less than 5% pala yung default.
Does SB Corp have a financial statement? Do they issue financial statements?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So what is does it generate income through its loan? Is there income generate?
Yes. Well, historically, as our SVP said, we have been earning net income, and then to date, we still do from operations alone, from lending revenues and costs attendant to lending per se. We're still registering positive revenues, but we have to provision for probable losses due to past dues, delays in collection. So as mandated by the BSP, we have to aggressively provision. So even as we're still collecting aggressively through all means possible, we have to provision. And for that, starting the year after the pandemic, we registered negative net income only due to what we call the provisioning cost.
What is the, in terms of size of your loans, what is the median size of the loan?
Yeah, the average loan size per borrower. We have, by the way, cumulative 56,000 retail borrowers since 2017. To date, and the average loan amount is about 200,000 pesos.
200,000.
Yeah, but our minimum is 30,000.
Oh, 30,000. And if someone wanted to avail of the loans, they would go directly to SB Corp?
No, Mr. Chair. It's purely online, so they could access our loan application portal, and we are in partnership with the negosyo centers all over the country.
And all these loans are unsecured loans?
Unsecured up to, for first-time borrowers, 3 million, and up to 5 million for what we call Suki borrowers.
So the largest goes, what's the largest loan that you've issued,
it's 5 million, actually.
5
but
million is the ceiling, this 5 million.
Yeah, but we've recently, Mr. Chair, increased our loan ceiling to 20 million per borrower, per single borrower, for our retail loans, and that's secured. The amount beyond 5 million will have to be secured by REM, and we work very closely with partners, cooperatives, rural banks, microfinance institutions. So these big partner conduits, because it's impossible for us to reach 332,000 already.
So you have an arrangement with the rural banks?
Yes,
you deploy the capital to them?
Yes.
And they loan it out?
Yes.
In exchange for?
Yeah. There is a pass-on rate. The P3 law puts a cap to the interest, pass-on interest at 2% per month, but we lend to them at very low rates. very low rates, below market rates, in fact, to stimulate immediate relending to the micro, because that's the target of
So
the
really,
fund.
you don't keep a majority of the loans are you download them to other institutions.
Yes.
And they're the ones who
relend.
they relend it.
Yes.
Do they give SB Corp a guarantee?
Well, various joint and several suretyships. In certain instances, we require collateral, but we are very strict in our due diligence.
So
when we
basically,
accredit.
you're loaning it to rural banks.
Actually more cooperatives, about 70 to 75% are cooperatives. And these are billionaire cooperatives.
Yes.
Although a lot of them are also just millionaire cooperatives, because our minimum loan per cooperative is 5 million.
That's understandable. It's very difficult to monitor kung paisa-isa.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I don't know if SB Corp has that kind of capability to.
Yeah, we're building. We're
monitor.
trying to build that because we'd like to increase our retail portfolio. So we're continuously trying to study. In fact, we now have two data scientists on board. So we have a machine learning based credit scoring model. So we're trying to see upon application for the very small loans, what is their probability of default, and then we can assign.
But SB Corp, you're not allowed to raise funds on your own. You cannot act as a bank. You only channel government funds. And then you.
Yes, we do not. We do not. We don't have deposit taking.
Yes.
But we do receive funds, special program funds, like from the International Fund for Agriculture Development. We have a venture capital fund of about 240 million. Another
Pesos.
Yeah, pesos. And another one from ADB 2 years from now, approximately 1 billion pesos. So we do have. In the past, we resorted to borrowing, but we've stopped borrowing already.
How do you decide what rural banks you deploy your capital to?
Well, we have a very strict. We have the BRR. We call the borrower's risk rating metrics. We have the whole range of.
So may mga suki talaga kayo.
Meron talaga.
And then you have actuarial experts who
Yes,
who
Mr.
compute
Chair.
this.
Yes. Kaya mababa. In fact, sa wholesale partners namin, ang past due rate nila ay 4% lang, Mr. Chair.
Nila.
Oo. So they're really reliable partners. So we're very happy with them. So mga 448 na yung na-accredit namin for the past six years.
But when you lend to them, there's no guarantee. Well, of course, they guarantee it with their own assets, but in effect, you're loaning them at a fixed, and they deploy it.
Yes. And we do.
But you monitor where they
Yes.
deploy it to.
In fact, we require a liquidation report where they put the list.
Yeah,
and
kasi
the
what if
PN
they
numbers.
deploy it to car loans? I mean, that's not the purpose.
That's why we have a liquidation report where we make sure that these are really MSMEs, and we do field validation.
Okay.
So far, we haven't had. And if there are instances.
What is the rate you give to the in average?
Maawa kayo, Mr. Chair, kasi 2% lang wholesale rate namin per annum yun. And then they can relend at 2.5% max per month.
Wait,
So
but yours is 2% per annum.
Per annum.
They can relend at 2.5% per month.
That's right.
Why do you not increase it? If it's
Kami?
yung rate nyo sa yung
Kasi in the past, like market rates, actually in the
the
past.
spread is very high. That's 2%,
Significant.
2.5% monthly, but compounded monthly, I suppose, right? So that's laki nun.
Yeah,
And then-
pero actually in actuality they just really lend rates ranging from 1.5 to 2%. They don't maximize.
Yes, but
And
nevertheless, that's
Tapos kami,
why
we-
only 2%?
Well,
Why don't you
we
raise that?
bundle that, Mr. Chair, with our corporate funds. Kasi yung corporate funds namin, medyo hinahabol namin yung market rates. Parang we lend slight at below market rates pero higher. If the market rates is at 6-7%, we lend at 6%. Yung gonna fit us 8, we
Kasi
lend 7.
if you're a rural bank, if you get 2%, I can buy T-bills. What are T-bills now? 5.
Yeah.
Ano bang T-bill? What's T-bills now? 4.7. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, slightly over 6%. So parang
Actually, we have already, our board has already approved an increase in our interest rates, but we will
I
implement.
think if you were to ask me, At least, I don't know, parang, it should be higher than 2%. I mean, for your own benefit, I mean,
yes. Yeah,
parang the spread for the bank is quite high. You're giving them access at funds at 2%. That's, that's very generous.
Yeah, we'll take that advice very seriously. So ngayon ang ginagawa lang namin para makabawi, binabundle namin. So half of your total loan from us comes from our corporate funds at 6-7% interest rate per annum, and then half of it comes from the P3. So it's like average is 4 to 5%, something like that. But for the P3 alone, because some of them just prefer the P3, understandably.
Well, it's 2%.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't prefer the P3.
We will implement a rate increase.
How big
by
is the
next year.
P3 now?
Total outstanding portfolio.
Well, what was the allocation of P3 last year?
It was supposed to be 1.5, Mr. Chair, but when the GAA came out, it was 1.5 was approved by the House and by the Senate, but when the GAA came out, it's only 750 million. But this year, the DBM itself
That's P3.
told us that.
But you have
P3.
your internal funds. What do you see from the GAA? The GAA gives.
Wala kami.
So the GAA at this point, GAA, there's no budget in GAA for additional capitalization for
Wala
this
kasi
Corp.
maxed out na kami.
So now you're just recycling capital.
Yes.
Okay. I see. What are the assets of the bank of SB Corp at this point?
The total assets.
Yeah, what are your assets?
Yeah, among 18 billion ang gross, but less
Book
provisioning.
value is 18 billion.
No, that less provisioning yan sa mga almost 17, 16 point
I see.
something.
Okay. Well, for your own, sabagay, yeah. For your own financial, I suggest maybe, if they're not, okay lang if it's low interest, if they're passing on the low interest to the end, their client. But if they're not gonna, if the interest is low, they're not gonna pass on that low. That doesn't seem like a well, it doesn't seem fair. Maybe we can do something about that. Para sa akin, at the very least, pass on the low interest to the consumer, or to the
That's correct. That's
the
correct.
person who's
Ang
loaning.
retail lending rate namin, Mr. Chair, is 1% per month on a diminishing balance basis.
Yes.
So actual niya, kung tuusin, if you compute the entire interest over the amortization life divided by the original principal, papatak lang yan ng mga 7% or less per annum and not 12% kasi hindi flat.
Yes.
Pero at least yon yung retail namin, medyo market rate. Or sub-market rate, pero kumikita kami. Kasi yun yung role namin kasi pag sensitive naman yung market sa interest rates.
Yes.
Parang we're trying to balance between we have to earn our keep.
Yes,
we
of course,
also
but you
have
want to pass
respond.
on you want access to cheap capital to these entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But you cannot control if the bank demands, you cannot control if the bank demands
Lower.
no, well, for instance, in order for them to deploy to give a loan, and they can demand collateral, or do you monitor that also?
Pagka P3 funds, walang collateral. Pagka yung
I know,
regular
but can
funds
they?
namin,
Is that an option, or bawal humingi ng
wala tayong
collateral?
collateral talaga. Bawal sa
So they cannot
GA.
ask for collateral.
Yes.
So it's really, they just have to assume the risk.
Yes, and since ito naman, di ba, bulk of the real lending is done by cooperatives, and the co-ops have, di ba, capital build up from their members and deposits from their members. So those amounts of money serve as like the de facto collateral ng mga Kaya mataas ang repayment rate nila.
Yeah, it's just high. Very few businesses can achieve, can surpass that kind of hurdle rate if they're borrowing at 1.5% per month.
Yeah.
Very difficult to, unless it's a bridge loan, or you just meron lang payables na itatawid lang nila. But as a general, it's a very high hurdle rate for businesses to achieve. Maybe we should look at a way to lower their borrowing costs for these MSMEs. If the pass-on rate is that high, parang medyo, it's difficult also to put up a business that can achieve that kind of return. So yun, that's my suggestion there. If we can perhaps find a way to lower the pass-on, whatever the pass-on rate of these other institutions, so that it can be more practical for our entrepreneurs. So yun. Well, anyway, at this point, I guess there are no more, there's no one in line to ask questions, and I'd like to thank you again for that very comprehensive presentation. Of course, thank you for, I can see that the whole, all the major officers of the SB Corp are here, so I'd like to thank you all for your presence, and at this point, without any more additional questions or clarifications or comments, the budget of the SB Corp is hereby approved at the committee level, and it is deemed submitted to the plenary, taking into consideration the discussions today. Again, I would like to convey my gratitude to the SB Corp and your respective staff for your budget presentations. And I would like to also to thank all the employees of the Senate and the senatorial staff here today who made this hearing possible and smooth. The Committee on Finance staff, the Subcommittee M team, the LBRMO, the OSAA, and the senatorial staff present, among others. Thank you, and this hearing is hereby suspended.